gang, gang. Hey, nothing but love and respect. You might have some cool fans, but mine are the best. We've been through it all, went to war when duty called. Never left a man behind, we move as one is super strong. I don't want followers, that implies I'm the leader. I'm not the captain, I just gave them something they can believe in. I hold the lamp in the darkness, but they're the light that I needed to see the road that we walk in between the angels and demons. And my fans have my back. Hate us if your feelings don't like facts. And my fans will fight back. Beat you with the keyboard you've been using to write back. I guess we need each other like both sides of the battery. We the army, we the homies, we the gang, we the cavalry. We're brothers and sisters, we hold it down like we gravity. Can't nobody break the bond that made us all family. Me and my fans, we don't care what anybody say. Middle fingers to whoever in the way, man. Me and my fans, we gon' be together to the grave. It's the gang till forever and a day, man. Me and my fans, we don't even trip in the hate. We the own in our veins, man. Me and my fans, we the hangover gang. Gang, 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 gang.
Oklahoma weather can dish out some of the worst punishment in the world. Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Tuttle. But now you can fight back by installing Class 4 impact-resistant shingles from Ferguson Roof Systems. These shingles can withstand large hail, heavy rain, and hurricane-force winds, all while keeping your home safe and dry. And the best part? This upgrade is completely free for many homeowners. So call today to start reaping the benefits these Class 4 shingles bring, including a discount on home insurance. Only at FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle back with you. It is Thursday afternoon. It is your lunch update, so it's about 20 minutes till noon. So we get you updated here. That way you know what's going to happen for the rest of today. So thanks for joining me, liking, sharing this video, leaving comments, all that kind of stuff. Jim, by the way, I saw your comment yesterday from Mustang. Glad that tornado missed you. Heard it was close. So we're going to check to see if we have any more of those things coming our way for today. And so thanks for joining me. So also what we can do is we'll show you how to, let me see here. Tell you what, real quick, let me do this first. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the screen. All right, so right here I'm going to leave the comment in the Facebook section. So when you do that, you're going to see me put that opt-in, and if you're having trouble getting live notifications, you're going to click on this and it's going to pop up this little window on your instant messenger, and it's going to say, hey, my little bot's going to help you out. It's going to, hey, I hear you want to watch the broadcast. So you say, yep, let's watch the broadcast. But you also notice there's another button on here. It says manage messages. Make sure you click that button and manage messages will pop up and it says, hey, I'm going to manage the message for you. You want to keep your updates or stop updating? Well, keep my updates because you want to get the live notifications. So you click that button. And then one more says, okay, hit notify me. This is like your final gut check. Okay, I'm going to hit notify. And that's it. So that means you're good now for the next broadcast. When I go live tonight to cover storms, you're going to get notified. All you have to do is just click those buttons 3 in a row, and you're good to go. Now, out there currently, it is chilly. You're thinking, how can we have storms when it's, Aaron, you're wearing a zip hoodie. An AT's weather zip hoodie. We're going to get tornadoes in that environment. It's cold, man. 65 degrees out there here at the Tempest weather station. If you'd like one, hit that QR code. I'll get you a discount on one. Real simple. That's what it looks like, that little picture you see there on the screen. So it's a fun, neat little unit, and I use it a lot. But yeah, it's kind of cloudy out there. We've overcast, we had some fog and just some kind of light drizzly conditions elsewhere over parts of Oklahoma here this morning. Still some light rain way across eastern Oklahoma. Also, let's get to this as well. Let me show you. So if you do not have my weather app, make sure you download it. If you go to my website, aarontutleweather.com, you can look up the tab that says AT's Weather to Go app overview. And that'll show you where you can download it, which is Apple and Google Play. You can also just search there yourself. But this will tell you a lot of the features that are in the app and also give you a video link tutorial on how to set it up. Now, this video is also found in the app itself once you get it installed. And make sure, this is the key here, make sure when you hit that install, Google and Apple have changed things. Make sure you say allow always. And that may not be present in the way that you're going to install it. And so you might have to go to your phone settings and go find the app once it's installed, and then click allow always to run in the background, because that's how it gives you those tornado warnings. Okay, so here's a look at the satellite picture. Like I mentioned, it's kind of overcast out there. Some light showers still ongoing in far east and southeast Oklahoma. Otherwise, a lot of this overcast conditions here across the body of the state. You do see some sunshine breaking in out west, and this clearing line right here is slowly working its way to the east. So by 4 o'clock this afternoon, or even 5 o'clock, this line should continue to kind of do this, and so we should start to see a little bit more sun in central Oklahoma by the time we head into the latter part of the day. Otherwise, still some clouds hanging on out there across eastern Oklahoma for the later periods. All right, so where is the severe weather threat here for today? Well, Weather Service is highlighting here in green. Now, normally, you would see a yellow for slight, and there's not a whole lot of confidence in this forecast about how things ought to transpire. The data is not nearly as robust the last couple of days as far as looking ominous. So it's on a marginal risk, which means it can go either way. I've been siding more toward the going rather than the awaying. Unfortunately, when in Rome. But the tornado potential regardless should be low, but I will give you a caveat to that here in a minute. Up to quarter size hail, so not nearly as big, and only winds at around 60 miles per hour. So hence the instability levels aren't nearly as high. Therefore, the magnitude of the event is a lot lower. Same thing out here in eastern Oklahoma. Marginal risk from Tulsa all the way down to McAllister with some small hail, potentially damaging winds, and a very small tornado potential. Now, the Storm Prediction Center, they didn't even have a marginal risk yesterday. They just had a light green for just showers. But they have changed it, and they've included a little tornado ring right here in parts of central and eastern Oklahoma up through Tulsa down toward Oklahoma City and points south from there. And they discuss how the fact that things just aren't nearly as exciting in the data as they were the last couple of days for those other events. But it does talk about how in the evening hours between, say, 9 and midnight or so, we should have some rough stuff going through central Oklahoma. And there's plenty of indices that would lead to supercells with the potential for tornado, although not nearly as strong wording. So this isn't, again, one of those huge things, but it's still there. So let me show you what's important. I'm going to show you first off the wind speeds here for today, because there's a cold front, and this is what's going to be important for us when it comes to tornado genesis. Tornado genesis is just a word that means the formation of a tornado. All right, so what happens is we got a weak cold front coming in this afternoon and evening across Oklahoma. Now, it's going to put the brakes on. This is the key point here. So I'm just going to do a quick rough and dirty drawing, but it's basically from Tulsa to the Turnpike to right through Oklahoma City, and it kind of circles back down to southwest Oklahoma on an area of low pressure that's developing right about here. And this will give or take a little bit, but the key is, I want you to see these winds, and the winds typically are very weak, about 5 knots. Now, very hard to get a tornado when surface winds are only at 5 knots. That's a limiting factor, so yay for us, right? And problem is, when you see a boundary like this that's lined up west to east, and it's not moving, it becomes a focus of what we call vorticity or baroclinicity. It's basically spinning, a roll of spinning motion in the atmosphere. You can't see it, but it's there. So if an updraft of a storm, a supercell storm, were to tap into that and pull it up, it can overcome these light winds out of the southeast at about 5 knots. Plus, the storm will be moving in an easterly direction, so to kind of double the inflow of the speed. So there's a couple of things that can still cause a tornado, but it's not as exciting or robust as it was in the data, just given the atmosphere itself on Tuesday and Sunday, where it could have just produced it without this kind of stuff. This is going to need a little help today. So if this help doesn't arrive or just doesn't work out and the storm doesn't ride right along the boundary, then you lose that help. And so the potential is a lot lower for a potential tornado in that case. But regardless, that's kind of how the way the surface pattern looks here as the front kind of drifts in and hangs out through the evening hours. It's a very slow mover. At 2 o'clock in the morning, that front is still hanging from Tulsa to now on the south side of Oklahoma City, about to Norman, and then back down here into southwest Oklahoma. So again, the boundary is important to focus on, which I will be doing so this evening once we get to some storms to form. The instability will be there. The dew points will be returning, and the crossover, the instability with the shear, is also returning, but it's kind of limited. It's down here across southern Oklahoma. You can see where the colors kind of show on in there. We'll stop it at midnight just to give you a point here to focus on. So you can see the darker colors for Cape values up around 1,000, plus joules in this area, and that's just on the borderline. You get up to about 500 joules here in central Oklahoma on a statistical average of tornadoes. All right, it's a lot harder to get tornadoes once you get less than 1,000 joules. So that's the good news. Again, a limiting factor. The front is really going to have to overcome that. But if we do look at the wind shear aloft in the atmosphere, and I'll pick just a random spot on the map here on I-35 just south of Norman, just to kind of show you what we have to work with. We still have a decent hodograph, still possible tornado hazard type. A low end tornado strength EF1 to maybe EF2 is what it's calling for. Still a classic supercell structure because the shear does turn with height. Now the lower levels is only around, let's see, 5 knots, 10 knots, 15, 20 knots. This is more of a summertime, let's just say this, a very early summer pattern, late spring. So you can sometimes get tornadoes here, but you need a lot more instability typically in that environment. We don't have that here. So it's a little different offset. But the collective shear storm relative is up to close to 200 meters per second squared. So it's right there on the cusp, which is why you're seeing the marginal discussion versus, say, a slight discussion. So it's right there. It's you couldn't say it's not going to happen. Let's put it that way. It's just a low end probability event, but it's not zero. Now, I will tell you, some of the bigger tornadoes that happen, believe it or not, happen with a boundary interaction. So, for example, a cold front or whatever. Now, in this particular case, the significant tornado parameter, which is the indices which show the better atmosphere for tornadoes, does reside here in southwestern Oklahoma along the Red River. And then that colors kind of come right up to about Norman. So it does put the brakes on into that cold front area here about around midnight here in central Oklahoma. So that's stopping the leading edge of that potential. Now, there should not be much hail with this, so we're going to talk too much about that. But the models do indicate there could be some helicity tracks, which is what these guys are here, which does mean storm rotation with, again, the potential for at least some minor wind, 60 miles per hour. Still some small hail because supercells do generate hail, even though the models don't show that often in this case, but that is on the table. And then finally, here's a look at how everything ought to play out time-wise. And then we're wrapped up. So let's see. We're going to go to, this is the latest data that came in. Let's see, timing, here we go. So last night we talked about probably about 8 o'clock. Is this the latest time? Yeah, it is. Go back here. And the model's been kind of back and forth between 8 and 10 as far as initiation goes. So it has been kind of a late show. So for example, there's 11 o'clock, there's noon, there's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And there's 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So you can see the storms do roll through central Oklahoma around, give or take, the midnight hour, and they will be rough, and they will be borderline severe. And because of the way this is staged, the way they're developing and building, and remember, they're running right over that front I talked about, which is kind of running like this, you have to watch the tail end of any complex. So north end, no big deal. All right, you might get some small hail out of it, but it's the tail end. You got to watch for anything that might become tornadic, and unfortunately, it does go right over the Oklahoma City metro area. Again, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I'm just saying it's something to watch for because stranger things can happen when you get things that do collide at the last minute. I'm going to go back to a prior run that finished out. This model's been struggling, by the way, with this event of what to do with it. The last run definitely looked more impressive than the prior run. Okay, so that's the timing on the deal. That's how things ought to evolve. If you notice, there wasn't really any activity down in southern Oklahoma where their better parameters were. It's kind of more focused along the front. So it's, again, a low-end event with low coverage compared to statewide coverage. Temperatures out there into the 70s coming up for the next several days after this upcoming weekend. My goodness, for Friday and Saturday. Woo, chilly. Overnight lows in the 40s for the next few nights. We'll briefly get in the 50s and back in the 40s to low 50s here, it looks like, for the rest of the month. But other than that, great daytime weather. Just a little chilly in the morning where you might need to wear a little hoodie. Other than that, you can take it off later in the day. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you. It's a short, sweet, what is it? I did an 8-minute broadcast for you. That's probably a record, right? So what you need to do, your take-home away is go about your normal business. Just kind of keep in mind that this evening, I'll keep an eye on things. If it looks like we're going to get one of those supercells that kind of gets close to riding that cold front boundary, that would have the potential to produce, like I said, a tornado out of that. And if it doesn't ride the boundary, or say it's just south of it, or it's gone north of it into the cooler air, there's no threat at all. But there should be a few storms around. I'll keep an eye on them for you. And it's a low threat event, a lower probability event. but not a zero event. And all it takes is one tornado to cause trouble, right? Especially one that's stronger. Now this one, again, the atmosphere itself says weaker in general, but sometimes with front interaction that can overcome that. But we'll see. I'm not going to say anything that's scary or anything. It's what the science says, so I'll just watch it for you. You can't do anything other than plan anyway, which is always the same. Just make sure you got a place to go for shelter, which is the lowest floor, away from all outside walls and windows, and have anything with you to protect you. It could be blankets, coats, mattresses, whatever you want to do, because since most of this will be late evening to midnight, most of you will be asleep, so just kind of keep that in mind. Keep your shoes handy. Just kind of, keep your apps going, all that stuff. All right, listen, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate the watching here for this afternoon, and like and share this video. And we'll probably check in with you this evening. All right, take care, everybody.